Okay, everyone, welcome to this YouTube channel about making comics. I'm glad you're watching this. I've been working on this comic here for quite some time. I've been talking to someone that I work with, another artist that I work with, about a project that they have going on, and they get a little bit discouraged. And I was thinking of ways that I could, kind of encourage this coworker. And I kept telling them that not to look at setbacks, but to look at the opportunities. And I realized that a lot of times I end up having to encourage myself. When you're an artist, especially when you're doing freelance, and nobody seems to, really know who you are, it's very easy to get discouraged. I have been selling my artwork since I was 16 years old, so I consider myself a successful artist. I have been working as an illustrator, and getting money for illustrations for a very, very long time. I'm in my 40s, and I started selling my stuff when I was 16. Now, getting published at 16 in magazines and stuff like that may sound like, oh, you got lucky. And I did. I really did. Sometimes little things like that happen where you might have a break, but a lot of the times ever since then, my experience has been that for the most part, you just got to pray a lot and be available and make your own breaks, with God's help. But making your own breaks is sort of what I want to talk about right now. A lot of times the attitude that you bring to a project or a future project or something you're working on can make or break it, because attitude is so important, and life is so difficult that if you do not try to maintain a good attitude and I don't want to say a positive outlook, because I really believe positive thinking is well, if you believe in that sort of thing, that's fine. But when I think of a positive attitude, I'm thinking more of being thankful for the things God has provided, and not taking the things that He's given you for granted. Because any opportunity should be looked at as a gift from God. I think the more that you teach yourself to appreciate things, I'll give you a for instance. I was talking to this particular individual about how you can publish your own books to Kindle now, simply with you just set it up and do it. And their first reaction was to look at all the challenges involved with that. You have to format the product in the proper way. You have to sign up. You have to, there's a lot of things to do. But if you look at all the things that you have to do as have-tos, then yes, it becomes very difficult to do anything really in life, because now all you have is a list of have-tos. And that's that's a hard way to go about it. Um, my wife is a very tough human being. She has been ill for many years, and I've learned so much from her because she's a trooper. Where most people would give up, she just keeps going. She's been extremely ill. I don't know if any of you know what Crohn's and colitis is, but it's a pretty debilitating. And she just does not look at what she can and cannot do. She just decides she's going to go do something, and then she does it. She's run a full marathon. She's run lots and lots of mini marathons, and her doctors are telling her that, you know, some doctors told her she would never be able to do that because of her condition, and she did it. In order to be an artist, you have to have that, or let me rephrase that. You can be an artist and do nothing, but in order to be an artist with any degree of success, you have to teach yourself that attitude. It doesn't come natural to some people like myself. The majority of my life, I've been a pretty negative person, and it's taken God and a lot of prayer to get me not to be that way. And God used my wife to teach me a little bit about not complaining. And so anyway, I guess what I'm saying is you got to look at everything as what is the opportunity, not what is it going to take. But you also have to count the cost of everything. If you're going to start a comic book, you got to know that it takes commitment to an idea, commitment to continuing to work through it. I published my first comic book, I don't know, it was a really long time ago, and only about 3,000 people own it, because I was only able to print 3,000. Now I could have said, well, I can only print 3,000. Doing 4 years of work to get 3,000 people to read something, is that worth it? And you could say, no way. I mean, that's just for 3,000 people. But then after I published it, and I gave it away, I basically gave it away to 3,000 people, and I did all the legwork. I got other people to help me do inking. It took 4 years because at the time I was working 2 jobs and also doing freelance. That's another thing about being an artist, a successful, I say successful, an artist that gets paid to do work, is that you're going to have to do a lot of work. It's all work. And you better love what you're doing, because if you don't, you're going to get tired of it really quick. So anyway, it took 4 years of staying up to 2-3 o'clock in the morning, drawing panels alone in a room, with no one there to basically cheer you on. And it's a huge risk of time, but if you love what you're doing, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, if nobody was paying me to do this, what I'm doing right now, which nobody is, I would be doing it because I love it. And if you don't have that kind of love for the craft that you are doing, then why are you doing it? I meet a lot of people who want to be a comic book artist or a writer, but what they really want is they want to have written a comic book and be famous for it. They want to have had a book that has their name on it, or to be recognized at a comic convention, or to be able to sell prints. They don't really want to do the 4 a.m. deadline. They don't want to do the endless, pointless changes that a client will make you do. They don't want to do the hard work. And if you don't want to do the hard work, then this is the wrong field for you. Uh, yeah, it's a lot of hard work, and you better love what you're doing. That's got to be number one. I know. I realize I'm rambling here. I wanted to get to a point um, about how I started doing artwork so young, and that's one of the reasons I'm doing these videos is because I sort of want to pay that back in some small way. I had a teacher, an art teacher in, oh man, it was so long ago, I don't remember what grade it was in. But I do remember the teacher, though. I have never forgotten him. His name was Tim Henson. And he was a very good man. He was an incredible artist, a bluegrass musician, which at the time, me being Cuban, I was like, okay, you like this sort of thing? But it grew on me after a while. But what this man did was he saw something in my work, and he was the first person in my entire life to tell me that I had talent. Before that, I thought everybody could draw. I had no idea that that this was something some people couldn't do. And I just did my doodles and thought it was like riding a bicycle or, you know, playing dominoes or whatever. It's just a skill that you learn, and everybody can do this. But he kind of informed me that no, while everybody might be able to draw, not everybody, is on an equal footing when it comes to this skill. So what he did was he put me in a room separate from the other kids, like a little office that was to the side. It was an open office. You could see all the other students, and you could see into the hall and everything. And he kind of kept me away from the other kids because I was the troublemaker. And at the time, I thought, I'm pretty special. He gave me my own room. But now, in retrospect, I'm not so sure it was for to give me something special. It was more like keeping me out of trouble. I was in a really bad place as a teenager. I was constantly fighting, not doing my work. I was getting F's every subject. I was a horrible student, and I just couldn't stop fighting. I was very angry, and the school, I think, was getting ready to expel me. I had been in so much trouble, and he took it upon himself to go to the principal and made a deal with the principal that if I could get my 2 electives in art, and so I had gotten in a lot of trouble in the other classes, like gym, especially gym class. Anytime I got an opportunity to fight, even though I consider myself a coward, I guess I was just so scared that it was like a fight or flight reaction. But I was in a fight constantly, and DC told the principal that if I could get to be put into his class for those 2 periods, that he would get me to stop fighting and do my work. And I guess the principal at this point was pretty fed up with me, so I guess he went for it, and I got to be in the art class for 2 hours a day, and he made me do these doodles. He said, "Listen, I want you to do a collection of these hillbillies playing fiddles and playing guitars and every kind of thing you can think of that has to do with country music." And I thought, man, this is a really boring assignment. And that was my first lesson in what the real art world is like. If you want to make money at this, the majority of us that make money at it by doing stuff we don't really like. And that's what you have to do to put food on the table. And if you can't work on a project that you don't like, then you could be a successful artist doing your own thing in galleries or whatever. But if you're going to be in the commercial market, you better be able to stomach doing somebody else's work that you don't think is so great, until you can get to the point where you have something to offer that's good enough where other people are going to want to pay you for your own ideas. And that's what this comic book is about, is our own idea. And where, I've paid my dues. I've done enough of the work where now I can focus on some of my own projects. And along the way, you help people. Like, I've been doing a lot of collaborations with Cyberlight Comics, and Cyberlight Comics is sponsoring some of this free time that I get to do these videos, because through their sponsorship, I don't have to take as many freelance jobs. So it gives me the opportunity to do this. But back to the thing that the teacher did. So once I was done with all these doodles that I really didn't care for or didn't want to do, he put them all in a collection and sent them out to magazines, redneck magazines. I hope that's not an offensive term, because he called himself redneck, so I'm assuming it's not an offensive term. Everybody's offended today. I'm not even going to get into that. But he put them all in a collection, and he sent them out to these magazines, and the magazines loved them. And one day he walks up to me, and he hands me a check. And I'm like, what is this? He's like, this is your check for these 4 illustrations, or however many illustrations it was. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. But for the first time in my life as a young person, I saw that it was possible to make money doing something that you love. And I was shocked. I was like, oh, okay, well, let's split it. We will go to the bank, cash this, because it was in my name, and we'll split this because you did all the work of sending it out and stuff like that. And he's like, no, this is yours. You are, making money doing art. And let me tell you, I was blown away. Here I am. I don't remember what age I was now, but I'm getting paid to do comics, or cartoons, I should say. I was just blown away, and at that moment, I realized I could just focus on doing this and not, be fighting all the time. And believe it or not, I don't consider myself very smart or, one of those highly educated people, but my grades went up, and I started avoiding fights because I wanted to be in the art room, and that was one of the rules, that if I got in any more fights, there would be no more being in the art room for 2 hours. And that made a huge change in my life. And it taught me that if I wanted something bad enough, I could make changes in my life that were, in my mind, impossible. Like, if you had told me, yeah, you can stop fighting if you want to, I would have told you, no, it's everybody else's fault, and if they mess with me, there's going to be problems. But it wasn't everybody else's fault. I was allowing my anger to lead me to failure. I was allowing that. Nobody else can make you let them control you. I mean, you basically have to choose to give them that power. And that's what I was doing. But I didn't realize it at the time, because I didn't know there was another option. So, in order to be successful as an artist, and when I say success, you got to qualify that, because Do I make enough money? No. Does any artist that I know make enough money? None that I personally know. So success, I don't think, is qualified correctly by how much money you make in the art field. To me, success is, do I get to do what I love every day? Do I get to, provide for my family, even though, we struggle, but I'm not out changing tires or digging ditches. I'm doing this. And am I doing it for all the projects that I like? Not necessarily. I do a lot of work that I probably wouldn't do normally if I had my choice. But you've got to pay the bills first of all and take care of your family. So, and I get to do that. So I consider myself a successful artist. Would you recognize me if you saw me at a convention? No. Nobody knows who I am. Maybe the 3,000 people that saw that comic book that I created might know my name if they really liked the comic. But other than that, nobody, as far as art is concerned, you know. So fame isn't what, in my mind, defines success. But one of the really important thing is check that attitude. Check that attitude on a daily basis, because how you choose to look at a situation can determine the rest of what you accomplish or what you don't accomplish, and that's pretty intense when you think about it. Just the way you think about something can mean the difference between success and failure. Anyway, I hope that helps somebody. I've seen a lot of people on here do like little things where they help people, and I have benefited so much from that. Just to have somebody encourage you that you can do it. I mean, I was headed down a really bad path when I was young, and I was given a break, and instead of fighting against it, I took it and I ran with it. And you have to make that decision every day. Any opportunity that you get to draw, you better take it, because if it's what you love, do it. Sell a drawing, put something up on eBay, like a fan art, or do something. Get that first dollar to encourage you that your art is worth something. I mean, look through DeviantArt. There are people who are hobbyists who don't even intend on doing this as a profession, maybe, but they'll draw a chibi and they'll sell it. They get commissions because they love what they do. Maybe their talent level isn't amazing, but it's good enough that somebody else can appreciate it. And that's the beauty about art. If you do something that you love, there's bound to be somebody else out there who loves it too. And you get those two people together, and you could basically make a sale on something that you love doing. So my encouragement, I guess, is just don't look at what I can't do. Look at what can I do, and keep focused on that. Well, I hope this helps somebody out there. And if Mr. Henson, if you're still out there, you really changed my life, and I just want to say thank you for all the stuff that you taught me, and for all the things that you did for me that you didn't have to do, that you went out on your own and did it. And I hope that someday I can help somebody like you helped me. All right, guys. Hope I didn't babble too much, and I hope you enjoyed this little bit of drawing. I'll see you guys again soon.